Hi, I'm Queenie Yu with Bullet Point News. I'm with Ohan Stamboulian, who is the Heritage Education and Public Program Coordinator at the Whitchurch-Stouffville Museum and Community Center, where he oversees school field trips, group tours, workshops, outreach, special events, and other education initiatives. Ohan, welcome to Bullet Point News.
Thanks so much for having me.
Ohan, what is Heritage Week and why is it important?
Sure. So Heritage Week began as an idea in 1974. And at that point, every third Monday in February was declared as Heritage Day in Canada. And then in 1985, the third week of February was designated by the province of Ontario as Heritage Week. And so it's an annual celebration of diverse traditions, cultural expressions, and heritage in all of its forms. So, like cultural and natural, architectural, archaeological, and museum collections, like the ones we have here at Whitchurch-Stouffville. And it's overseen by the Ontario Heritage Trust. This year, Heritage Week is taking place from February 20th to 26th, with Heritage Day being on Monday, February 20th. Um, it provides an opportunity for people to reflect on how heritage is conserved, promoted, commemorated, and how they might shape the future by interacting with heritage. And it's important because it allows people a vehicle to explore different types of heritage.
Tell us how we can celebrate Heritage Week at the museum.
Sure. So the Whitchurch-Stouffville Museum is super busy with Heritage Week. We're actually happy to be providing actually it's five free events. Four are officially within Heritage Week, and there is an extra event, so five total. And we're super excited as well because we're also very grateful to have Heritage Week being presented by State View Homes and sponsored by Telmac. So we're able to do a lot with Heritage Week with that support. So on Saturday, February 18th, it kind of marks the beginning of Heritage Week here. So we have Family Day at the museum. So that'll be from 12 to 4 this coming Saturday. We'll have horse-drawn wagon rides around the park with Lionel's Farm. We'll have all of our exhibits and heritage buildings open and staffed with staff members and volunteers so they can interpret the space. You get to really learn about the space. We'll have candle rolling, cookies, hot chocolate. The TRCA and Bruce's Mill will be here doing maple syrup activations. YRP will be here with a community booth and more. So that's really the beginning of our Heritage Week. And every event is completely free to attend. So it won't cost anybody a penny to attend any of these things. Then moving into Tuesday, February 21st, we have a workshop called Hidden History at the museum. And that runs from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And what that is people can attend for free in the evening and basically just watch a presentation and have the opportunity to learn a little bit about the specifics of the museum and its collection, which really isn't all the time a forward-facing topic. So it kind of gives people the opportunity to like look behind the scenes a little bit. Then moving into Wednesday, February 22nd from 12 to 8, we are extending our hours to allow evening visits. So normally we're open 12 to 4 Wednesday to Saturday, but we're staying open till 8 o'clock to allow people to come in after work and after school to hopefully make the hours a little bit more accessible to people that week. And then on Saturday, February 25th from 12 to 4, we have what we're calling Heritage Week drop-in. So that's kind of like the Family Day event that happened the week prior, except it has a little bit more of like a heritage focus. So we'll have Bruce Whitaker's history snippets activations on site. We'll be providing our Archaeology Alive educational program, which touches on some of the Indigenous history that exists here in this place. Um, we have local historian Fred Robbins coming to talk all things local history and maps. We have research facilities. We're going to be showcasing the Stouffville Poppy Project, which is a project that's done downtown Stouffville. We have paper piercing lantern crafts. Our heritage planning division will be here. Of course, all of our exhibits will be open. So a lot of things going on that day. And then we also have a fantastic event happening during Heritage Week called Lace Up Stouffville's Passion for Skating. And so that one is planned by the museum, but it actually takes place at 19 on the Park, which is the theater on Main Street, Stouffville. Um, and the event will feature a guest panel that's made up of sports columnists Jim Thomas and Jim Mason, as well as counselor Keith Acton, who spent many years as a player and as a coach during like in the NHL. So It'll be an evening of interactive storytelling about ice sport history in Stouffville, and it sort of was sparked from a previous exhibition that we held, which was in conjunction with the Canadian Museum of History. So that's completely free as well, with concessions and everything. So 5 events were very, very busy, and we really hope people take advantage of all of these multiple diverse events next week that are all completely free to attend.
This is great. What do you think kids would find most interesting?
I think if I was a kid, I'd probably find Family Day at the museum, which is February 18th, and Heritage Week drop in, which is sort of then the following Saturday on the 25th. We're kind of making them the Heritage Week bookends. Those are more family focused events that are good for all ages. So I would say kids would probably be more entertained by those two events.
And what are the exhibits that would be most popular for adults?
Sure. So those would be good for adults as well. But I do think that the sort of in between those two Saturdays, those events. So I would say hidden history, taking advantage of our extended hours, and definitely lace up Stovall's passion for skating. I would say those are more driven towards the adult audience. The content is more specified to a certain part of heritage, as opposed to this overarching story. So I would say those are probably the more adult-driven ones. We also have an exhibition on right now at the museum, which you can see at any point by coming to any of these events or any regular open hours. It's called Ace Academy Flight Experience. And that's a really amazing exhibit that's in partnership with Ingenium in Canada, as well as some local collections and the museum's collection. And it showcases like aviation history as it pertains to World War One, World War Two, and then some of the more contemporary stories from the community. And there's even a flight simulator of a World War One biplane in there. So I would say that's definitely worth seeing for everyone. But adults seem to have more fun with the flight simulator, so I would say for sure that.
What would you say is your favorite exhibit and why?
Ooh, that's a toughie. So I'm actually right now in the Bobertown Schoolhouse Gallery. It's a schoolhouse that was constructed in 1857, one-room schoolhouse. I'm torn between this and the log cabin as being my favorite locations at the museum. But I would say in terms of exhibit, we have Ace Academy right now. All of our buildings are really exhibits as well. We have Making Maple, which is an exhibit on maple history, maple syrup history in Whitchurch-Stouffville. So it's tough to choose. Maybe Ace Academy would be my favorite exhibit because of the flight simulator, which I haven't quite mastered, but all the kids that come through are way better than I am anyway at that.
Tell us more about the flight simulator. What does that involve?
Sure. So it actually is. It's within one corner of the exhibit. So the exhibit is larger as it's larger than just the simulator. But the simulator, you sort of go in and you stand in front of a screen, and the screen prompts you. It's a motion sensing, basically flight simulator. So you're kind of standing in there, and it puts you through a trial run. So you're putting your arms out and flying like you would, like your arms were the wings of the plane. It's a Sopwith Camel biplane from World War One. And so it puts you through a training session. It's about 30 seconds. And then it gives you 1 minute to shoot down as many enemy aircraft as you can within 1 minute. And so it's really interactive. It's a lot of fun. It gets the kids and the adults interacting with it. And our current record is held by the exhibit's been in since I believe it was I want to say it was fall of 2022, and one camp kid actually put in I think 11 points in 1 minute, which is the largest record that we've had. So.
And each of the exhibits has a tour guide.
So the way that it works, actually, I'm remembering now, Ace Academy I think opened in April, so it's almost on its full year. But I believe like the way that the tour would work best, you actually come into the museum, you check in at the reception desk, and it's free general admission for the museum. We started as a pilot project starting last July, and so it's going until this July at least, so we can sort of see what the demographic looks like when we waive admission fees. And it's been very successful. So you just come during open hours, you get a free self-guided experience in the in parts of the building. So the schoolhouse that I'm in right now is one of those locations. We also have a permanent gallery that sort of looks at the chronological history of Whitchurch-Stouffville through thematic sort of touch points. That's undergoing a redesign currently, hopefully opening by the end of spring. But we also have Ace Academy, Making Maple. Those are sort of the self-guided experiences. And then a staff member will actually take you outside to go into historic buildings. So we have a log cabin, a Victorian farmhouse. We also have a barn that goes offline during the winter, but during spring and summer, it will be open again. So you can sort of see into those. So it's really a great experience. It's kind of a mixture of like tour guide plus self-directed.
That's great. Is there anything else you think we should know about the museum?
Yeah, I mean, where do I start? There's so much going on. So I would say, in terms of Heritage Week, I just wanted to say a couple of things. So I would say Whitchurch-Stouffville Heritage Awards. We're actually in our second year of these annual awards now. So anybody can nominate a residential or a commercial property to receive a Heritage Award. And those nominations just opened this week, and they'll be open until March 13th for 1 month. So for all the heritage lovers, I would say definitely check out the website, which is townofws.ca/museum to get information on that. We also have new educational signage at the Jean-Baptiste Lenné site in Whitchurch-Stouffville, which is an archaeological site that was home to a Wendat community in the late 16th and early 17th century in Stouffville. And so we've put, in collaboration with the Wendat Nation, we've put educational signage there so people can actually walk and read the information that you would maybe find at an exhibit. Here, you can actually go to the actual place that this took place and you can read about it. So I would say those are two of the larger heritage initiatives that we're seeing right now. But there's also 9 weeks of summer camp coming up that explores every corner of every spot in the museum, completely educational. We have March break camp coming up. We do PA days often. If you're a teacher, we have great educational programs. So I would say that there are definitely a lot of things coming up to look for like if you have kids that want to explore the museum and you want to interest them in heritage, and this is a good place to start for that. So I would say check us out on the website for that information.
This is so interesting, Ohan. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
totally. There's a lot
Great.
to explore up here, and a lot. I guess the final I would end with that many people don't think that a museum is for them or that it's a space for them and that it's not going to interest them. But maybe I'm biased, but I would say you're completely wrong. You need to try the museum out. There's a lot of things that happen at the museum that you would be completely interested in if you just gave us a try. So I would say just visit the website, come and visit us, have conversations about it, and yeah, give us check us out and come visit.
Could you tell us a bit more about the heritage nominations?
Sure. So they started last year in the inaugural year. So basically, what it is, it's a we're sort of it's a way to celebrate built heritage in Whitchurch-Stouffville. So we're looking at residential buildings as well as commercial buildings. And so nominations are open for a month, and people can go in to the website and nominate a heritage property essentially. And so those actually will be handed out, those awards out to the recipients of both categories at an event called Doors Open Whitchurch-Stouffville, which is taking place on the first Saturday of June every single year. Whitchurch-Stouffville has been doing Doors Open for almost 20 years now. I want to say this is maybe our 18th year, if I'm not mistaken, or could even be our 19th. I'm not sure, but um, that will be presented at an event called Stouffville Celebrates Heritage, which everyone's welcome to. It's on June 3rd, and more information as it comes out will come up on the town's website. But there's actually a full celebration that takes place that day to celebrate architectural, social, and cultural heritage in Whitchurch-Stouffville. So there's a lot of really important work in heritage being done. And the Whitchurch-Stouffville Heritage Awards is just one of these new programs that is sort of adding to that conversation.
Great. Ohan, thank you so much for joining us at Bullet Point News today.
Thank you so much for having me.